Today, we are going to compare the two biggest cities in the triangle, Raleigh and Durham. We're going to look at the schools, the taxes, employment, sports, parks and greenways, and crime. But first, let's talk about population and home price data. In Raleigh, the population is 469,000 compared to 274,000 in Durham. You'll notice throughout this video that Raleigh has just a little bit more of everything because it's bigger. But Durham has some really cool stuff as well. If I had to give a general difference between Raleigh and Durham, I would probably say that Durham is much crunchier than Raleigh. It's more artsy, more funky, and they just might be a little cooler than we are here in Raleigh. But what Raleigh lacks in hipster vibe, we make up for in really well-planned city with tons of resources. The median home price in Raleigh is a bit higher than Durham at $305,000 versus Durham's $286,000 price tag. Schools in Raleigh are part of the Wake County Public School System. Wake County Public Schools are ranked overall number 9 in the state, in addition to rankings for both athletics and diversity in schools. While Durham doesn't receive an overall ranking, it does also rank for diversity and athletics. You can see on the map the report card grades for the two districts, with Wake receiving a lot more clusters of A-ranked schools. These rankings are calculated by niche.com using data from the Department of Education, the U.S. Census Bureau, and the FBI, as well as millions of independent reviews and survey responses. Taxes. The numbers I'm about to share will probably shock some people. I get calls from a lot of people living in different states, and they often cannot believe how low our taxes are here. But these are absolutely real numbers, and if you don't believe me, you can find them on wakegov.com. Property taxes in Raleigh are a combination of state and county taxes, with the county tax being 60 cents per $100 of assessed property value and the city tax rate of 35 cents per $100 of property value, for a total of 95 cents per $100 of property value. Add on to that a $20 per year recycling fee, and that is your total taxes for your home for the year. So if you're buying a $500,000 home in Raleigh, your taxes are going to be somewhere around $4,800, but there are many places in Raleigh where you can have a Raleigh address, but you're not actually inside the city limits. So sometimes you can live in Raleigh, but you're only responsible for paying that county tax rate since you're not in the city limits. Now, you also don't have access to city services if you're not in the city limits, and you probably don't have sidewalks, as many parks and greenways close by, weekly trash pickup, and you might be on a well and a septic system instead of city water and sewer. And you're going to have to pay a service to pick up your trash every week. But it's cheaper. So that $500,000 house outside the city limits will get you a $3,000 tax bill every year. Taxes in Durham. In Durham, your taxes are going to be a little bit higher than in Raleigh. The combined city-county tax rate in Durham is $1.24 per $100. So that $500,000 house in Durham is going to cost you $6,200. So an extra $1,400 a year in taxes, roughly. Just like in Wake County, if you live outside the city limits in Durham, you're also going to pay just the county tax rate. A house in Durham County will cost you a little bit less than Wake County at $2,658 for a $500,000 house. Employment. Raleigh and Durham both have robust economies and healthy job markets. In Raleigh, the top industries are education, government, healthcare, and technology, with employers like the state of North Carolina, NC State University, and WakeMed Health Systems taking the top spots in the largest employers. Durham's top industries consist of companies like Duke University, Cisco Systems, and IBM. The Research Triangle Park is a large business park focused around the technology and pharmaceutical industries, and there are a lot of these kinds of companies in the general area. But RTP is located in Durham County, but it's really right about halfway between the two cities of Raleigh and Durham. So while this collection of innovative companies have a Durham address, it's right between both cities, and you're just as likely to live in Raleigh and commute to RTP as you are to live in Durham. Sports. Durham has a big winner in the sports arena. Did you get that? Do sports people get puns? Do not have any sporty people watching? Anyway, Timothy has to approve my sports writing scripts because arts are more my thing. Anyway, the Durham Bulls are perhaps the Triangle's most famous sports team for non-sports people after Kevin Costner's Bull Durham film in 1988. The Durham Bulls home is at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, which is smack in the middle of Durham's trendy American tobacco campus. This is a really cool spot to visit. It's a historic tobacco factory complex that Durham has turned into an amazing restaurant and entertainment district. There are just tons and tons of shops and restaurants, so you can make your afternoon at the ball game a whole day of shopping, eating, and visiting. Duke basketball is another highlight of the Durham sports scene and amounts to something like a religious following for many Duke fans across the country. If you want to see some of the future stars of the NBA, a Duke basketball game is a good place to start. In Raleigh, despite the city's effort to secure a major league soccer team, which they're still working on, Raleigh professional sports are limited to the Carolina Hurricanes. However, the Wolfpack fan base is really solid in Raleigh. NC State football and basketball dominate our college sports scene, but with all the colleges in Raleigh, there always seems to be someone somewhere doing something with a ball. Before we get into entertainment in Raleigh and Durham, if you want to continue to be entertained by my fun and interesting facts, okay, maybe I'm not that much fun, but hopefully I'm interesting. Anyway, if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, you should subscribe to my channel. It's right there, just click the button. Okay, now we can have more fun. Entertainment in Raleigh and Durham. I would say the biggest difference in entertainment in Raleigh and Durham is that Durham has one large entertainment venue, the Durham Performing Arts Center, or DPAC, and that is pretty much the Mac Daddy of venues. This is where you're going to see your Broadway shows and your big name performers. My son went to see a guy named Dan TDM at DPAC. Dan is a huge YouTuber from the UK and he does videos about video games. I have no idea how a YouTuber who plays video games on his channel puts on a concert, but if they do, it's happening at DPAC. Even Raleigh people will get their season tickets for DPAC because it really is the best venue in the area. Other than that, Durham has lots of little indie type venues, coffee houses, little dive bars that have shows, bookshops that do poetry slams, you know the kind of thing. Some of the popular places are the Man Bites Dog Theater and the Blue Note Music Joint. This year, 2020, Rolling Stone magazine recognized Raleigh as being a hotbed of independent music and having one of the best current music scenes in the country. Of course, they said this in February of 2020 before everything got shut down, but I am confident that the music scene will come back swinging. In Raleigh, there are quite a few larger venues. We've got the Walnut Creek Amphitheater, which is an outdoor venue that has hosted pretty much every major music act that has toured in the last 20 years. They also host festivals like the Charlotte Blues Festival, Jazz Fest, and Lollapalooza. Downtown, we have the Red Hat Amphitheater and the Duke Energy Center for the Performing Arts. And on the west side, we have the Dorton Arena, the Joseph M. Bryan Theater at the Museum of Art, and the PNC Center, which in addition to hosting our outdoor basketball and hockey teams, does stuff like Disney on Ice and the Harlem Globetrotters, which is kind of fun. Raleigh also has lots of those only the locals know dive bar type venues. Places like Tin Roof, Emerge in the Warehouse District, and Lorraine's Coffee House are favorites. Parks and greenways. Durham has lots of little pocket parks around the city, but they have two significant parks and one greenway that are worth mentioning. Duke Forest is a teaching, research, and recreation forest managed by Duke University. It's a great place to go hiking on the trails, fishing, mountain biking, or horseback riding. There are also two covered shelters with picnic tables and grills available for use. The Eno River in the Eno River State Park and flows from Durham County to Orange County north of Hillsborough. It's a great place to go camping, hiking, kayaking on the river, or have a picnic. And the American Tobacco Trail is a 22-mile trail that starts in Durham at the American Tobacco campus, travels through Wake and Chatham counties, along the edge of Western Cary and Apex, and culminates in New Hill, not far from Jordan Lake. It's a pretty cool trail that was built on a historic abandoned railroad track. As the larger city, Raleigh also has an amazing number of parks and greenways, like way too much to put in this video, so I'll just hit the highlights. But if you want to see more videos about parks and green spaces in Raleigh, just let me know down in the comments and I will make them for you. Lake Wheeler Park, Lake Johnson Park, and Falls Lake Park all have great water access, but Falls Lake is the only one that allows motorized watercrafts or swimming in the lake. We've got the amazing 6,000-acre Umstead Park, which I've talked about before, and you can see more on this video right here. And a couple of my other favorites are historic Yates Mill County Park, because you can see the old grist mill where the locals used to get their grain ground into flour, and there's a cool little natural history museum on site. The stonework is really beautiful, and you'll often see people here doing wedding photos and things like that. And lastly, Pullen Park in downtown Raleigh is a popular favorite, especially if you have kids. There are several ticketed rides for kids like the bumper boats, a train ride, and a merry-go-round. The train is really cool because it's mini, but it's big enough to fit adults, and the view of the park that you get from riding through on the train is really beautiful. Pullin has an on-site cafe where they serve fresh local foods. Everything is made in-house with local and/or organic ingredients. And lastly, we're going to talk about crime. But before I talk about crime in Raleigh and Durham, I want to make one caveat. Crime in the Triangle region, specifically Raleigh, is a lot lower than many other cities in the United States. I used this list of cities organized by population to identify other U.S. cities closest in size to Raleigh, and you can see by looking at these crime maps that crime in Raleigh is significantly lower than other cities closest in size to it. The other cities I'm comparing are Miami, Colorado Springs, Omaha, Nebraska, and Kansas City, Missouri. I just randomly selected these cities based on size. The green color indicates the lowest levels of crime, and as it goes up to yellow, then orange, then red, the crime rates get correspondingly higher. So you can see that most of these cities are in the orange range. Miami and Kansas City have some red indicating high crime, which you don't see in the Triangle at all. But Raleigh is the only city out of these randomly selected cities with the entire city being yellow. I just want to put this into context because neither Raleigh nor Durham are high crime cities. But as you can see from this map, Durham has higher crime than Raleigh. Durham has crime rates more similar to most moderately sized cities. And Raleigh, well, Raleigh just has really, really low crime. Specifically, Raleigh has 25% less property crime and 50% less violent crime than Durham. You'll notice that both cities have higher crime relative to the whole United States. This is pretty much the same for all cities because the U.S. is full of undeveloped land where not many people live. So when you average the crime stats across great swaths of cornfields, it makes all the numbers lower. Again, both cities have fairly low crime. A few weeks ago, I compared Raleigh to Charlotte, and you can watch that video here if you haven't seen it. And if you don't want to miss my next city comparison, you definitely should click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.